Morning, everyone. How do you like my new shirt? I don't think I've off really yet. My daughter actually created it. My daughter actually created this shirt, and I like it. Kind of kind of what we do here on One Rental at a Time, right? Produce that mailbox money. So real quick, got a nice day down to Fresno. I'm actually at home for a day before I head off to my second event. Finished up, what was it, whole scaling live, and then now going to flip hacking live, flip hacking something down in San Diego tomorrow, which would be pretty cool. So, uh, so heading down to Fresno, gonna look at the office. I think our sign just came in, so gonna go take some pictures and videos of that. And but before we do it, I got to get up and look at what's going on in the news, specifically the financial news. So, as I've kind of indicated the last couple of days, right? The trade war was on a positive trend, but I believe I had said each time that we're one tweet away, we're one thing away from it taking significant step backwards, and I think we just did that today, right? I think the discussions were actually supposed to really start today or tomorrow, perhaps. But what did we do? The U.S. just blacklisted 28 Chinese companies. China has already come back saying basically, watch out, we're coming for you. So they're going to retaliate in some way. In addition to that, it looks like we are going to restrict pension funds from investing in Chinese companies, right? We've raised the prices on Chinese goods with these tariffs, and now we are starting to, I don't know how else to say it than choke off some of the liquidity with Chinese companies. By these discussions, this isn't the first time we've tried to go after their stocks. But now it looks like, given that pensions are something that I think the executive branch and the like can control, it looks like they're going to try to look at seeing what they could do to restrict that, which is interesting. On top of that, I'd be remiss if we didn't once again talk about, a single tweet from an NBA general manager in support of Hong Kong has just exploded into essentially the Chinese Broadcasting Association not broadcasting NBA games in China. So to think, um, what that really means when it's a managed economy, when um, I don't know what you want to call it, freedom of speech is the only thing I can think of, is not kind of, and the rule of law is kind of not out there for all. You could see why we are taking such a hard stance against this behemoth of an economy. Um, again, a single tweet, less than 144 characters, sparked the NBA not being broadcast in China, right? So, um, just goes to show that you know there's a real need to kind of flex some muscle and see what we can do to improve those relationships and all of that. So it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. But I think it's fair to say that the trade war has taken a step backwards, and this is a long game of chess. And um, I've long said, and you can go back and watch the videos because we do these every day, that I don't think anything gets resolved until August or September. I don't know what winning looks like, so it's just interesting times because clearly it's starting to affect earnings and it's going to ripple to the consumer eventually, if not already. On top of that, looks like Samsung's profit is going to come in 56% lower. I know Samsung for smartphones. Um, apparently they are huge in memory chips, and there's some new technology coming out that caused them to have a blip. They're now saying that they're on track and the worst is behind them and all of that. I've said it many times. I'm not a stock person. I don't get it. Samsung's a conglomerate of many things. I'm a headline reader at this point, and 56% fall points to some significant problems. One thing I thought was, I don't know if you want to call it good news or not, is it looks like the producer price index came in lower than expected and actually was negative. It was the biggest decline in several years, right, at a negative 0.3. Why this is interesting is one of the things the Fed has to watch out for is inflation. And if producer prices were increasing, they would have less room to seriously talk about a reduction. And again, why do we track this? It's because I'm a real estate investor, and one of the two things I track is cost of capital, right? The other being the consumer. So, what this really means to me, this will be the last reading before the Fed meeting on the 30th, is they have been given additional room to lower rates. I think it was Monday or Tuesday last week. I expected um, the negative news cycle on income and consumers and earnings to be pretty big, and I'm still calling for a half point cut. When I made that call, the likelihood of a quarter point was like 56%. It has since spiked to over 90. I'm going to stand by that 50%. Right? If inflation is as low as these numbers indicate, and the negative trend on manufacturing and the consumer, and we ratchet up the trade war, which is something that Powell has said that he really needs to watch, I think they may go big. I think they may go for a half, which really could spark the stock market, interestingly enough. So it's going to be interesting. Another one is Dick's Sporting Goods CEO talked about the consumer being in good shape, to use his words. Again, watching retail stores, kind of like we watched Starbucks like 6 or 8 months ago. These CEOs have dashboards and information at their fingertips. They're publicly traded, so again, they're going to be giving information that they see, uh, out there. So it feels good. And then lastly, Brexit. Um, Brexit's going to be messy. I think there's going to be unintended consequences. I think it's going to crush Europe. I think a lot, frankly, in disasters like that, I think there are lots of millionaires created, right? So I think there's going to be huge opportunities for some. Unfortunately, it's going to hurt many, 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 many people. And just be careful what you wish for in things such as that. So, in the end, it's another exciting day. I expect, this with the backstep with the trade war, that the stock market will likely be down. It seemed to be bouncing around based on the trade war, and we've had some good days, and now we've had some bad. So, in the end, that's what I got for today. Going to head down to Fresno, look at the office, take another investor, and